What is up, everyone? Today we have a Shindaiwa. It's a T231 that the owner said he bought it from someone who put in their shed about 5 years ago because they took it to a repair shop, and the repair shop said it needed a new carburetor, and they didn't want to pay for it, and the person died, sold it to the person now owns it, and now it's on my table, and they brought it to me wanting a new carburetor installed. Okay. Sounds like a plan to me. So here's the problem. When buying these, there's two different types, and I'm hoping I got the right type. I'm kind of wondering if I did, but we'll go over that when we take it apart. I think first thing we're gonna do is remove the cover, maybe even this top cover, so we can gain access and see what we have going on there. Well, hold on there. Over 90% of you, according to YouTube, are not currently subscribed. You're watching this video, but you're currently not subscribed. So I'm going to welcome you to subscribe at the end if this helped you out. I work on a lot of machines, so maybe the machine you're watching is going to be something you own, but who knows? Maybe you own a generator, a pressure washer, a big mower, a chainsaw, a variety of things. The only way to know if I'm going to fix it in the future is by subscribing, and maybe I get to the one that you own and can help you out then too. So I welcome you to subscribe, put a thumbs up if it does help you out. Back to your normal video. So there's a piece on top of the carb which we might be stealing off the one that we have currently, because it might be different when ordering. I think I might have gotten the right one. I don't really know. Okay, I want to take the whole... Oh my god. We might have to be cleaning that. I didn't get a filter. But anyway. Looks like we need 2 Phillips heads to be removed. And that's the reason why I wanted to remove it. It does have compression. It has actually a decent amount of compression. The thing it also has is a real horrible smell coming from the fuel tank. So that in general is not a good, healthy fuel tank sign. We might be dealing with that. We're probably going to be removing or replacing a lot of the fuel lines, if not all of them. There's really no point to replacing just one. Okay. Come on. Here we go. Now, well, we might have done good. Disconnect the throttle. Here we go. Oh, it came right off. Perfect. There's nothing in the fuel tank, so don't have to worry about fuel erupting on us. Since we are going to be replacing this line anyway, well, that one's kind of junk. But this one actually seems like it's pretty decent. We might not be replacing that one. Let's see here. Can wiggle this thing off. Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's actually really nice and pliable. It's just this clear line that isn't. It also has like a little grommet right there. Okay, so this is the moment of truth. Did we get the right carb? This is the part. So here's the problem. That hole sometimes has this metal piece, depending on your throttle cable. And when I got one, it asked me if I had that metal piece, and I looked and I couldn't find it. But I have noticed that this hole is a lot different in size. So I don't really like that idea of it being so different. We might be stealing that off this one. Take off the bad fuel line. Which may or may not be the funnest of tasks. Which one's the actual fuel line? Let's look. I think that's just the return. Yeah, that's just the return, so that's good. There we go. So I'm going to go find myself a section of line about that size, and then we'll swap the top on the carbs. Oh, let's see. That might be too small. Problem is it going to be too big? It is. So this usually ends up happening. The inlet for the carb is a different size than this barb. I'm going to take a torch, like a propane torch or even a lighter, get the end of this warm so it's a little bit more pliable, and that way it's easier to install. Before I did that, I took a look at this grommet. It's actually pretty soft still. The black rubber line and the grommets usually hold up together a lot better than the clear line. Just what happens. So we should be ready to go on that. If you want to, you can replace the line, obviously. But considering everything, I don't really want to. That's up to you. So we're going to take this screw out. Hopefully it's about the same. We're going to have to undo this. And you can count them if you want, but I'm not going to. It's just the idle set, so if it's running too fast, then we will lower it. Okie. Okay, good. Came out. Now let's hope that's the same piece as this one. Wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't. This is an aftermarket carb. I think it was like $14. Don't quote me on that. Could be different. But so far, it's putting on the same way. Now before we take this off, we're going to look at the orientation of it, and the idle set is in the same side as the fuel lines. Well, hopeful mental notes. Now when you take these off, some, especially Echoes, the little block ones, have this little brass piece in the center. I don't think this one will, but just in case. Okay. Well, they appear to be about the same. We're going to find out here shortly. Yeah, I think they are. We're going to put in the screws that came with this carb. They're not as good, but at least we know that they were in there before, and they'll go back in there again. You don't need to put the full effort into tightening these screws. It's just going to aluminum and plastic. So both are not known for their extreme durability. Okay, well, now should be pretty obvious, but that's the return. I can't really press this anymore. This is the in. If you're ever confused, you could do that trick, or 99% of the time, the one with the barbs is going to be the fuel, and that's going to be the return. So I'm going to put the black line on there, clear line on there, get it reattached the same way we took it off, and we will see. So I just got off the phone with the owner. I kind of sent him a picture of the air filter, and I'm like, dude, this is pretty nasty. Do you want me to get you a new one? He's asked me if there was anything I could do today about it. I said, well, I could blow through it and clean it out. And he said, that's fine. So we're already going down a sketchy path. Why not limit our sketchiness and see if we can't get a better fuel filter in there? Do you ever have one of those neighbors that just loves to drive those cars? I do. Now, don't get me wrong, I did the same thing. The difference is I knew how to shift, and I kept it low. That's going to be too small. But it's okay. I've driven behind that vehicle before, and it is well on its way out. The amount of oil that thing burns is pretty substantial. There we are. Perfect. We put that back in there. Put it back where it came from. Now I'm going to fill it up with some fuel, and we'll give it a couple primes. So in here is a 50-to-1 mix of Red Echo or Red Armor Echo oil and non-ethanol. I'm going to fill so I can at least tell the filter is fully submerged, right about there. I'm not here to fill a person's tank. I mean, I will if they ask me to, and I'll charge them for it. But I'm not here to do that. If you're unaware, Shindaiwa is basically an Echo, except it's mainly focused for commercial use. Okay, it primes. Get that nice and primed. I'm going to blow out the air filter, put it back on, and we'll give it a pull. Tightened the idle set a little bit. Let's see what we have. Oh no, I forgot to do the throttle. Okay, disaster avoided. Throttle is now on. I think that's a choke. I don't know if we're just flooded or the carb needs tuning. I'm going to take the plug out and take a look real quick. I'm not really sure, but the top might be constricting the fuel flow. Could be happening. The plug was a little wet, also old, so I put a new CJ8 in there. It's the old one. Let's give it a pull and see what happens. I'm not going to put choke on because it could be potentially flooded. I don't want to add to that problem, but I will hold down the throttle. Oh, well, that's good. Let's turn that up a little bit more. Turn it up too high, just in case. Apparently that's not high enough. Well, good news, it runs. Bad news, spitting fuel and oil all over my floor. So that's always fun. But it runs, so that's good. If that was the case, that piece we switched over, my next course would be clean the old one. And you could potentially put that back, the one that came with that carb, back on the aftermarket carb and give it a try. It's just a little loose. It probably won't fall out. The problem is it'll just have a whole lot of play. I don't like that. So I would probably end up taking the diaphragm and everything out of the aftermarket one and cleaning the old one and putting that stuff back into the old one. Luckily, we didn't have to go down that route, but if this did not work, that's what we'd be doing. I'd also kind of wonder if the air filter is the problem. This still has the air filter in it, but as you can tell, it still runs. It's a little rich, but you know, it's what the owner wants. The owner wants. Because it does have a lot of fuel in the muffler, I'm going to let it run outside, burn all that nonsense out, and then if there's any more problems, I'll be back. If not, then I think we are good to go. This is a carb replacement on a T231. Should be basically the same as a 230, so if you have just one number off, it should be basically the same. The carb might just be a little bit different. But other than that, it should be set to go. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101, and I'll catch you on the next one. You have a good night.